What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Stay Faithful podcast, the Niners Coast to Coast edition. I'm Ty Alston, your host, and joining me as always is my good buddy, David McNiner and Bryant McKnight, my partners in conversation. How you guys doing tonight?
I'm good, buddy. It's Monday. It's time change Monday, so
Yeah,
that kind of dragged out a little bit. But beyond that, I'm good.
well, that's good. That's good. Free Agent Monday. It's not like officially free agency, but it is, right? Because everything's going down. There's moves being made, players are flying all over the place. And of course, in 49 Faithful land, everybody's just refreshing all of their feeds to get some news. All right. So let's rewind a little bit because I haven't talked about this yet. But 49ers, of course, it's been reported that they're going to release Arik Armstead. Eric's with the team for 9 years. Started defensive tackle, defensive end, and moved inside the tackle on rush downs. But for the past few years, permanently switched to D tackle, where he solidified himself there. But the team can't seem to come to an agreement with him. Wanted him to take a pay cut. It's been reported, and now seems like he's going to be going elsewhere. What do you guys think of that?
Bryant.
Oh boy. I'm going to put it gently because I know Ty's a big Armstead fan. I wasn't the guy that always rooted for him, and at points in my time, I was really upset he wasn't on the field. Your best availability is being available, right? It's like sometimes the player who's playing is the most athletic or the most gifted, but he's the one who's not hurt. But Armstead was on our team for a very long time, and I kind of started noticing the trend with him then. The Niners always draft defensive linemen like first. We always do. We always do. I know people are like, oh, we need to do this, we need to do that. No, we really typically always draft defensive linemen first. And defensive lineman, defensive edge, it's kind of hand in hand. And this guy, like you said, he played both sides. And I remember when we first got him, when we had Buckner and stuff, the guy did seem to, go off I think that one season, and then he got paid. But it was really, really ferocious. And it was like, wow, we got a really, really formidable line. And then all of a sudden, people got mad at him because we didn't sign Buckner. So then for a long time, he was like maybe the third stepchild, the redheaded one with freckles that nobody, like pays attention to. And
It's because their favorite, who was Buckner, moved on. So that's the way he was treated. You're absolutely right.
yeah, he was a good player, really good player. And when he was on the team and on the field, he did his job. The run defense was better when he was there. And at first, I didn't believe it, but I started paying more attention to it and started making more sense. When he's not there, we couldn't stop the run. So, yeah, he was a good player, good player, and it's sad to see him go. But yeah, I don't know. At a certain point, I mean, you don't want to see somebody have to take less money, but you would have liked to see everybody work it out somehow, right?
Right. Exactly. And you understand that he's at the later stages in his career, right? Going into his 10th season. Um, Guys don't want to take pay cuts at this point in their careers, right? They want to get all the money they can. So, David, what do you think about the move, the announcement?
I was halfway shocked by it because of the cap hit that we're actually taking. But at the same time, I thought he was going to play another year and just retire a Niner. He has missed 10 games in the last 2 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
Plantar fasciitis isn't something that just goes away.
And he's a big man, carrying a lot of weight.
That's
right?
exactly it.
Yeah.
I have it in my right foot. I control it. I deal with it. Last week, one day, it was really sore, but I got home, I got off of it, and I took honestly, some ibuprofen just to get the swelling down a little bit, and it hasn't bothered me since. But I'm not I'm not 6'7", 290 pounds.
Exactly. It's a difference.
So that's exactly it. There's a big difference. I
Hmm.
mean, once he's done playing football, he's more than likely going to shed a lot of weight,
Oh
and
yeah.
then that will help him. That will help him with his issue. But to play football where he wants to, he has to be that 290, 300
Hmm.
pounds. So, but I was just shocked. I was genuinely shocked. I thought he would retire a 49er.
Yeah. We know he's beloved in the locker room. Team really likes him, but like you said, it comes down to the business of football. And what can you do? What? How can we make this work financially? And the team, wanted him to take a pay cut, and he's like, no. It is what it is. You can't blame either side for trying to work something out, and not come into an agreement. It happens. But we were all worried about, where are we going to find money now? Because we only had like $600,000 in cap space. So it's like, where are we going to find money? Well, if we designate him as a June 1st cut, we save 18 million. That's a whole bunch of money right there. So
That's true.
yeah, it works out in our favor financially, but you hate to see a good player go, especially one that's been around for such a long time.
Yeah, he's the last holdover from the Trent Baalke days.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was the very
And
last.
yeah, I mean, well, have you heard anything on Juice? There was a report, and I don't know how real it was, that they were trying to get him to take a pay cut, and he said no.
Well,
So
it
they
came
were
out that
looking at,
yeah, it came out that was from a fake account.
okay,
And that's
that's what I
unfortunate.
thought.
This time of year, the trolls come out and they disguise themselves as real accounts, as the Matt Mayokos and the Adam Schefters and these
Hmm.
people, and they put
Yeah,
out these fake tweets and stuff. And if you're not paying attention to the name carefully, you buy into it.
yeah, because I had understood that they had talked to him as well and asked him to restructure as of like last night, and he came back to them and said that they're working out a deal. So that
Mm-hmm.
means he didn't say no to a restructure, just the amount of money that he wants and what they're going to come to them. And that's what I understood didn't happen with Armstead. And
Mm-hmm.
it's funny that we find out that Fred Warner had already restructured a couple days prior to this.
Yeah.
All this has been already planned.
Yeah.
So they looked at Armstead and said exactly what David said. You haven't been healthy for a couple of games last seasons. You're getting older. We want to keep you, but we need it to work out for us. And if work out for you as well. Well, he says, okay, maybe I can go get paid somewhere else. I don't know where he's going to really go and get paid somewhere else at his age and get paid or have the same potential that he's going to have with San Francisco. But sometimes the grass is greener in other places, and I heard somebody say Buffalo. So, all right, I know it snows there, so we'll see if he likes the snow.
We'll see. It's all opportunity and negotiation. And being a free agent, you can decide where you want to go. You never know. So we'll see. Maybe he's like, I want to go somewhere warm that doesn't have any state taxes, and he winds up signing with Tampa Bay. Something weird, right? He signs with
But
Tennessee just
Jacksonville.
because. Yeah, exactly. You just never know
but
what plays into a player's decision. Hmm?
the timing of all this makes it puts a hold on him until June,
Yeah.
until the summertime. So he can do whatever he really wants to, but he's not going to be in another organization's locker room or anything, learning anything, working with them, any of the mini camps, anything until right there before preseason. And at that point, how many teams are going to? I mean, now your chances out of the 32 have really dropped. Then they drop again, and now there's only going to be what, maybe 5 teams looking for him.
Hmm.
So I don't know. Maybe he ends up in Kansas City. Maybe he ends up in Kansas City. I don't know.
You never know. You never know. You got to see how things play out. And I'm sure there'll be some negotiating behind the scenes with teams to say, hey, can we work something out? Teams will call him. And, just like that's been happening all week, right? Don't think any of these announcements are just out of the blue. This stuff has been going on for weeks now. They say there's no tampering, but these guys, all these free agents and their representatives, they've been talking since the season ended. That's just the way it goes.
So this is a crazy idea, and I don't know if it's feasible or not. But could the Niners cut him in June and then sign him right before the season starts?
I think you can, because you're technically a free agent,
They cut
right?
that contract and then they sign him to a 1 year deal.
Right.
I mean,
I think I've heard of players, teams and players doing that before. So I need to look more into that and see if it can happen, because you never know. And
so
technically, nothing has been filed yet. So who knows how this plays out?
and then this is my next question for both of you guys. The whole thing with BA now we can potentially have his money in June if this is what's going to be true with Armstead. But why do we have to sign him this year? Don't we have next year to potentially work out a deal? Or are we thinking he's just going to be so mad and so expensive we won't be able to afford him?
Well, that's the thing with. Sorry, David, I'm just jumping in here. That's the thing when people
You're
say
good.
we have to sign BA or trade him. That's not true. We don't have to sign him now. Of course, it would make more sense financially to sign him now to an extension, because we could lower his cap for this season, right? Move some money down the line. It gives us security that we have this player for more years, and also it makes the player feel at ease. Hey, I'm signed. I'm playing. I don't have to worry about injury. I got some more guaranteed money. Everybody feels warm and fuzzy. But we do not have to sign him. And if you go back and look at all of our free agents this year, right? All those guys came up. This is the last year of their contracts. We didn't have to sign those guys. They can all hit free agency. Like Javon Kinlaw. He was drafted in the same first round as Brandon Ayuk, right? We didn't have to sign him. He's a free agent right now. We can approach him and say, hey, we'd like to re-sign you, but other teams can do that as well. That's football. That's the way it goes. But if we don't come to an agreement with BA, we just don't. We can either have him play out the last year of his contract or maybe look for a deal somewhere.
It just means if we don't get it done this year, it just means he goes and becomes an unrestricted free agent where other teams
Correct.
can talk. That's
Correct.
that.
That's all it
No.
is. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah.
Well, and honestly, that Ty hit it right on the nose. It's security for the player and the team moving forward. That's nothing to worry about him becoming a free agent. And when it comes down to it, like Brock Purdy is an example. We don't have to sign him until after he's played 4 years.
Yeah.
But after next season is his third season, and by the rules, we can extend him then. And I'm willing to bet if he puts up another season like he did last season, it's gonna happen,
Yeah.
right? So it was just like
Thanks,
Debo,
Debo.
right? And Debo made a big deal about his contract, and a lot of that could have been posturing by his agent. His
Oh, it
agent was
was.
representing AJ Brown and DK Metcalf at the same time,
Exactly.
so he's trying to get someone signed to a big contract so he could use that for a bar for the other guy,
Exactly.
and the Niners like to sit on it until right before training camp. And honestly, tell me if I'm wrong, but does that even make sense? So you're not gonna extend the guy. You're gonna sit on it. You're gonna let free agency happen. You're gonna let the price go up, and then you're gonna sign him. How does that make sense? Sign them early while the price is down,
Mm-hmm.
and then, when the price goes up, it's you're signed to your contract. It's like Debo wouldn't be such a big cap hit. I think what is he this year? Isn't he like 21.9 million?
Yeah. Yeah. It's huge.
His cap hit wouldn't be so ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. Brian, you look like you were about to jump in there and say something.
Well, I think it's strategic that they sign the guys in preseason, or right before the summer ends, for two reasons. They can give you don't want to make your player too confident, cocky, too comfortable, right? Because then maybe
Mm-hmm.
they stop trying. They don't run as hard, right? They're like, oh, I'm good. I'll always be here, right? You see my name's on that locker, right? Well, so if you make them wait, right, and then they start to sweat a little bit, you might actually get some, you know, what is it, noise. You might get some, you might hear something from the other teams, like, hey, what are you guys doing with them? We'll offer you this, and then maybe at that point you do listen because this guy's becoming a problem. Or he's got an attitude. Prior to all of this contract talk, you already seen what he was doing. So
Mm-hmm.
now you're like weighing out what you could potentially get for him, and you still, and to go back to it, maybe you just didn't have the money in April, or like right now, we don't have the money, so we have to wait until this time. So it is one strategic, but it's also potentially financial. This is why, because I know they can go over at certain times in the year for the deadlines of being under or over the cap, but they
Yeah.
also have penalties. And I think, that's what they're trying to do, is save as much money for Jed York as possible. But you look at the Saints, and Jason Hurley said it the other day, how much money they are over the cap. So,
Yep.
I mean,
Every year.
we, we're not the Saints, right? We're the 49ers. So,
Exactly. Yeah. But the late signing thing, that's one thing that bugs me about what we do because it's not like we don't know this is coming. Like us as fans, we know Fred Warner's entering the last year of his rookie deal. Debo Samuel's entering the last year of his rookie deal. Nick Bosa, Brandon Ayuk. And they deserve an extension, right? So you should start planning for that early. And like in the case of Bosa, I remember the season prior, they asked John Lynch about it, and John Lynch is like, yeah, we budgeted for that. We're okay. And it took all the way up until the season starts to get a deal done. Now, I'm sure it was some negotiating back and forth, but they should have started that early. And that goes for all the players. Like, if you were budgeting for that a year in advance and you know it's coming, as soon as the season ends, why don't you go to the table and say, hey, let's get a deal done. These are the numbers we have. Look it over. Numbers and less negotiating. Let's just get this thing done. Especially with like a Nick Bosa, right? Generational player. He's a great player. Our best defender. You get that deal done quick. I hate the late season thing because we saw how it affected Debo and Nick Bosa said this year when he got off to his slow start. It's because, he's waiting on the deal to get done. He wasn't there for camp and all that stuff. So it definitely is a detriment in that way.
I'm never a fan of a player holding out.
Yeah.
Like Fred Warner's a prime example. He didn't hold out. He came to
Mm-hmm.
camp while they were negotiating. He worked,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? And I believe Kittle did the same thing. He showed up to
Mm-hmm.
camp. He didn't hold out. You
Mm-hmm.
know, Debo he showed up to camp. Maybe it was I'm here because I don't get fine things. Shout out to
Yeah.
Marshawn Lynch.
Yep.
And Bosa just said, I ain't even showing up. Like,
Mm-hmm.
y'all ain't paid me what I want yet. I ain't even coming. I'm going to kick it here in Florida.
Staying on the boat, do some fishing. Like, dude.
I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, he admitted after the season that kind of messed him up.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm not a fan of how and when we sign these guys.
Yeah.
Do it early, get it out the way. Like if they did it before, like right before the league year started, that actually would have freed up $8 million
Mm-hmm.
extending Ayuk.
Yeah.
We,
Because
we just had Jason Hurley on Sunday, so
yeah, it's like you said, you get to set the market, set the table, get things done early. It frees up money. You get to save some money. So
Yep.
it's definitely a detriment when the longer you wait, especially when some individuals, don't work out and stage. It's not a holdout; it's a hold in. They show up, but they don't do anything. They jog lightly on the sideline. Well, that's not really helping the team. You're not getting in shape that way. But I want to talk about
Hey,
what.
Oh no, I don't know. I disagree with there because there's players who practice hard and are bad football players in games, and there's players who don't practice very well and then come on to the game and light it up. And you're like, where was that
Well,
during the
yeah,
practice a week? And then so like some guys are like, well, I'm not going to rip myself up, for practice, but I'll go all in the game. And you're like, but that doesn't make any sense because you would think if you're going to go hard, you're going to go hard all the time, right? Well, some guys just don't practice that way, and you see it in all kinds of walks in life and all kinds of different jobs. The thing I think is really the problem here is they don't have set prices for positional players. Like if you're
right.
a running back right now, you probably shouldn't teach your kids or have your kids grow up to be a running back. Honestly, the best position you probably want to have them practice and grow up to be is an offensive lineman and a left tackle who potentially could be a tight end like George Kittle. At this point, kickers don't make a bunch of money. Quarterbacks make a bunch of money, but you might not be a quarterback for very long, and it's not for long, right? NFL, you go all the through it. Wide receivers, they may or may not make it. There's how many people out there try out to be a wide receiver, and then they're good players, but they don't ever get a chance because you only need three on a team. You only need three, so it's like I don't know, guys. I think if they could come up with some kind of, you don't have doctors all over, charging different prices. Like, oh, okay, so you're here today in California. Like the prices all over the state of California is basically the same. It's like, and if it's too expensive, then yeah, you go to a different dentist, or you go, you're like, okay, my insurance won't cover that. But I think right now that's our problem is we have players who's making so much money, they're living on the other side of the country and only living in their state for a couple of months because of taxes,
Mm-hmm.
and they're living in a different place because they're trying to reap the rewards of, and that's our problem is we have too many states where there's too many players and these laws are affecting them and making them say, oh, I don't want to play here for very long because if I go to Texas or Florida or Las Vegas, Nevada. So I think that's our problem, guys.
Well, what can you do?
is
It's the
that
state we
breaking
play in.
news in the chat there?
Yeah, I want to look that up too. Did we sign this guy? Is that for us? We signed a Panthers DE.
I'm
Brian
finding
Burns
out
went,
right now.
Brian Burns went to the
He went to the Giants and got a huge pay raise. So,
Second highest paid defensive end in the league,
yep,
behind Nick Bosa.
yep.
yeah. And that's the other thing is if you're a player, why would you want to get signed right away? If we signed Ayuk right away, he's not going to make what he could potentially make by waiting. He's kind of like playing, gambling now. Now you're, taking a shot on yourself. Maybe they'll pay me. Maybe I'll have to go somewhere else and look for the bag. But either way, if you hold out, that's almost the potential of you getting the bag. The longer you wait, the more money you're going to potentially make, right? Look at Jimmy Garoppolo. They signed him quick, and then all the quarterbacks after him made so much more money.
Well, they did that like a
So
year
this is
later
this is
than
confirmed. 2 years, 18 million.
well, 49ers signed him.
Yep.
Okay then. 2 years, 18 million. So that's 9 mil a year, average. Okay. Well, we
He's
just signed Leonard
numbers
Floyd,
wise, he's pretty close to like a Minahu.
Charles Omenihu, who did very well with us.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, that's interesting because we just signed Leonard Floyd for 2 years, 20 million. So that's two guys you
I
signed at basically around
man,
10 million a year.
honestly, at first I wasn't very happy because I want to go. I want to get younger.
Mm-hmm.
We're the fourth oldest team in the league, right?
Yeah.
Want to get younger, so we just swapped Arik Armstead. Longtime Niner, great humanitarian. I am not knocking the guy at all. For pretty much they're the same age.
Yeah.
But the thing, Leonard Floyd though hasn't missed a game since 2017. I don't know if you hear me
Availability.
knocking on wood, folks.
I know,
Uh,
right? Do it now because you don't want him to come out west and all of a sudden, oh yeah, knock on wood there.
and I mean, someone was saying, look at his stats because he just keeps getting better. So he's like a fine wine.
Yeah.
And honestly, I'm not. If a guy's really good and he's 31, okay, 2-year deal, that totally makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. 31 is still
Six six
productive.
three 240.
Mm-hmm.
He's with the Chicago Bears back in the day, huh?
Yeah. Look, Leonard Floyd, I see him as our new D Ford. He is a
Dang.
pass rusher, right? He has speed, he has length, he has
Yep.
multiple moves, he has the experience. We know he can get to the quarterback. He is he's not a like beat you immediately kind of guy. But he's a high effort, high energy guy. So whenever he's rushing upfield, and we've seen this, how quarterback steps out in the pocket and the guy just completely whiffs, he's the type of guy that will keep running after that quarterback and chase him down from the backside. And that's the kind of guy we need. And a perfect complement to Nick Bosa on the other side. So I like
Well,
the signing.
so there's one game last year that, well, he played, he just didn't start. Well, that's kind of funny. But the last 4 years, it's 10.5 sacks, 9.5 sacks, 9 sacks, and
Hmm.
10.5 sacks. So he's
Yeah,
very consistent.
very consistent. Doesn't miss games. Like I said, high motor, just keeps it going and gets after it. That's what we need,
Man.
right? We saw late in the season how guys on the backside they kind of like took it easy on plays. Let's put it out there, right? Chase Young took it easy on plays. There was no backside pursuit. Leonard Floyd is not that type of guy. He's going to try to run you down. So you can see why we were going after him.
At the same time, the second guy we signed, he's only 26, so technically we kind of did get younger, because they haven't brought back Randy Gregory. We don't know what he's going to command yet,
No,
right?
nope.
It could still happen. You never know.
It can still happen. Definitely, it can
I
still
mean, so
happen. Like this
right
is
now we have five that would put 5 edges under contract.
uh-huh.
Um, and then of course, we're going to be getting the camp bodies going on. They're going to be signed.
Exactly.
I think they've already done that. They've already signed some guys to
Well, we
as
signed some
camp
guys.
bodies,
Yeah,
right?
there was a whole bunch of
None of
guys
those guys
signed.
count against the salary cap though, because they're not the top 51. None of
Nope,
those guys count.
nope. They're all way down. Making
Yep.
league minimum, so they don't count at all. But they're definitely bodies that we got in there. But defensive end, John Lynch, he loves his pass rushers, so he was going to get some right away. And we saw what he did today, right? First two signings, defensive end. He wants pass rushers. His MO is you can never have enough of them. So that's what he did.
I mean, last year, the year before we had 45 sacks. Last year we had what, 35? It's like 35 or 35 and a
Yeah.
half. So the production actually went down, even though we signed Hargrave
Hmm.
and we were supposed to be better. But we lost guys like Amenahu,
Yeah.
Jordan Willis,
Samson
We
Ebicon.
lost a bunch of rotational pieces,
Yep.
right? And we kind of changed what we normally do because we were carrying 5 interior linemen and like 4 edges, which is typically the opposite. We carry
Yeah.
4 interior linemen and 5 edges, right? So, in my opinion, these 2 signings that points at we're going back to what we were doing.
Yeah.
And interior wise, we have what Hargrave, Kalia Davis, and T.Y. McGill,
Yep. That's
not
it.
including the camp bodies,
Yeah.
right?
That's it. We're paper thin inside. Paper thin. Which is why people were speculating, we would bring DJ Jones back, especially with the announcement of the Armstead release.
Mhm.
We knew DJ Jones was a very good run stuffer for us, right? Eating up double teams, freeing guys up. He played well in his last season. That's why people were speculating, we might bring him back, which you never know. People said we would bring back Aziz Al-Shair, and come to find out he just signed with the Texans. So it's all speculation, right? Let's put that out there.
Yeah.
But
3
we're
years,
going to,
34 million.
yeah,
3 years,
good for him.
34 million with the Texans. So
Yeah, good for him. And D'Amico knows how to use him. We'll have him playing well. He played well in Tennessee last year, so he'll do well.
yep.
But we're paper thin at DT, and I'm pretty sure they're going to be doing something. I could see them drafting a couple of DTs. You never know.
No, I really wanted to go like heavy offensive line early in this draft, but I'm not the 49ers front office, right?
No.
So at this point, being paper thin at defensive tackle, knowing how we've drafted in the past, I will bet anybody $100 that we're picking a defensive lineman with that first pick.
Oh yeah, I'm not taking that bet. Plus, like we just said, John Lynch loves his defensive linemen, especially those ends. So, yeah, I'm not taking that bet. Not at all. Hey, but let's go to the offensive side of the ball. Upside of the ball, we placed the second round tenor on Juwan Jennings. He's with us. That second
It's
round tenor holds a $4.9
four-
million.
Yep,
Dollar number.
4.89, but you're rounding
Yeah.
up. That's good.
Yeah, rounded up is
4.9, that works.
4.9. Yeah. So that puts our third wide receiver on the team. A team has to match it, and if they match it, and we don't, has to offer him a better contract, and if we don't match it, we get a second round pick. I can't see a team giving up a second for Jennings, but you never know. Teams do weird stuff this time of year. But Bryant, what do you think about placing the tenure on him?
He's a fan favorite. Everybody really liked Juwan. They wanted to bring him back for what we got for him. I think we got him for a 7th round pick, and then
it was a 7th round pick.
We put a 2nd round tender on him. So one, I don't think anybody's going to really want to snatch him up for that because that's a little bit higher than what people want to give up for a 7th when you look at it. But then when you look at the player, if that was Michael Jordan, everybody would be like, oh, we're going to do it, right? But, again, they do. They look back at the numbers and are like, 7th's not really worth it. If somebody wants to match it, hey, and he wants to leave, but I don't think he wants to leave either. So I think between him and Conley, they were the MVPs of the Super Bowl. So,
yeah,
man, I'm glad. I like him.
Yep, Steve-O says bet right there.
Rob D says this is the offseason nepotism. We're going to sign Rice, Gore, McCaffrey, sign the other Bosa, good old Joey, who people who broadcast say he's on the team now. For some reason, they confuse him and Nick Bosa. They always say we have Joey Bosa. It's the weirdest thing, but I digress. You never know. The draft can go in many ways, and these guys later on in the draft, you never know. We did our mock draft last week, and and we drafted those guys. So you never know.
I think we're taking one of them. I think we're taking one of them for sure.
We're gonna get one of them. Oh yeah, we gotta bring one of the family members in house. Um, I wouldn't be shocked if it wasn't like a Brendan Rice.
Yeah, that's
Because
who I think we're.
yeah, because like right now, besides the top three, who's the receiver we got in the contract? Danny Gray. He never sees the field, so we need a receiver. We need receiver depth. So I can see
Yeah.
them targeting him first if he's still there.
Well, for right now, we have what we have: Debo, Ba, and Juwan now.
Exactly. Yeah.
Those are our three, right? And
Yep.
then as far as our depth, oh well, we have Ronnie Bell.
Oh,
Even if
Ronnie
people
Bell. I
don't,
forgot Ronnie Bell. My bad.
it's okay. That's why we work together so we can
Yes.
break more.
Yes.
Ronnie Bell, man, I really was hoping he could be a punt returner or a kick returner, but it doesn't seem like they're really working him in that way. He seemed to
That's
be
not
more of
his
that.
thing.
Yeah. The game we got to go to, he had like the heads up, the alert kind of play where, like the ball's in the air and he made a play. So
Yeah.
I'd like to see him on the field a little bit more, but I don't know. If they go after Brendan Rice or, McCaffrey's brother,
Mm-hmm.
Bell could be on his way out very soon. But
Rob D says,
Danny Gray, sorry, Danny Gray, he's got to do
yeah.
something.
You
We're
see
not.
him having one foot out the door, right? And Rob D said Kyle loves a McCaffrey. I tell you what, these McCaffrey boys are born to play in Kyle's offense. It, right? His dad played under Kyle's dad offense. It's the same offense. They grew up in the house with it, studying with dad. They're just born to play in it. So
That
you can
that's
definitely see them drafting, McCaffrey at wide receiver.
That's funny because now I can see it. Young Kyle Shanahan out there in the yard playing with CMC and is it Logan or is it Luke? It's Logan.
It's Logan.
Logan's I think Logan, and then running routes and throwing the ball back and forth.
Yeah,
I can see it.
yeah. You can see Kyle the way he's on the practice field with the players now, throwing the ball, like running this route. The same thing with them when they were little, right? Like, all right, I don't want to babysit you guys, but we can play some football. Come on.
Yeah,
Do this.
yeah.
You do this. You do that. you know? So, yeah, the McCaffrey, another McCaffrey in uniform. Hey, they come from good stock. I wouldn't mind that. Not at all.
That-
Ty, have you seen a picture of Frank Gore Jr. though?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Dude, he looks like his dad when he was young.
He's the spitting
I'm
image.
looking at that like, holy crap! Like,
He's
wow,
he's the spitting image. And I tell you what, before Frank tore up his knees, they ran the same too. Like Frank was really a speed guy who can like get to the edge and cut and go. But before he tore both ACLs, kind of had to revamp his game and kind of turn into more power, right? But they definitely are the spitting image. Like the fruit did not fall far from the tree. So
Hey, I wouldn't be against taking him late, if he's there late. Well, we never know what the 49ers are thinking, but we could always use a change of pace back, and that's what he is.
exactly. That's the one thing we don't have. A quick change of pace back, a guy who's with that speed. Remember, it used to be all speed when we had Mostert and Matt Breida and
Yep.
Tevin Coleman. They brought him in. He had speed. Like it was just we had these speed demons, and now it's totally changed. Like I would love to see another change of pace back, bring that speed element to it. Help us run more of that quick zone outside running that we used to do, because that's the way it was so effective. We would kill them with the speed to the outside. So, yeah, if we could get like Gore Jr. in the 6th round or something with one of those like free comp picks, Do it. I would love to see that.
Yeah. I mean, we have no idea how the draft is going to fall out. Like
Oh, Steve-O.
last year, last year, freaking, I went through a few different mock draft simulators, and I kind of saw how they ranked everyone, and I was big on getting a center, even though we re-signed Brendel. I'm not a hater, folks. I just want better. He's not bad, but he's not great. You know,
Mm-hmm.
but so when I was looking at where they ranked, like Juice Scruggs was projected to be a third, fourth round pick, and he ended up getting taken, I think, in the first or second.
Mm.
I mean, that's just one player, one example. We
Yeah.
do not know how the draft is actually going to fall.
Exactly.
Like the mock drafts I've done this last Saturday, we did mock draft episode 2.0,
Mm-hmm.
and it was me, Bryant, and Kenny, and all three of us did one. But I for some reason traded back and ended up picking like 15 rookies. Lord knows that 15 rookies ain't making this team. You never know, though, right? But I did a lot of O-line. I picked a couple guards, a couple tackles. Competition. What's wrong with competition?
Yeah. Nothing wrong with it.
Right? But, and a lot of people are saying that the tackle class is really deep this year. Last year we were in the third round and there was two guys on the board. The guy from BYU, he ended up with the Colts, Blake Freeland.
Yep.
That was the guy. And the other guy ended up with the Browns, DeJuan Jones.
Yeah.
And, I was sitting there going, take him. At this point, they had already traded up and got Jair Brown.
Yep.
They had already taken Jake Moody and, made Bryant's year. And then, here we are.
Show that jersey.
We're like.
Moody time.
Yeah. So here we are, and both those guys are on the board. I'm like, okay, they're going to take one of these guys.
Yeah.
And then they took Cameron Latou.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, at the time, there were no real tackles on the board we like.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
Bryant.
How you evaluate these people, right? We don't know how the team evaluates these guys, what they see. And there's hits and misses. Like they clearly missed on those two tackles over Latu, who didn't see the field at all, right?
Well, no.
Well, did they miss on him or did they hide him?
Well, they didn't hide him because we didn't draft him.
Yeah, we didn't draft him, so
We
either
decided to
way.
take a tight end over them, and you can see they are clearly more valuable than Latu right now.
Cameron Latu, he's being hidden. I don't think he got it. I don't think he got injured at all.
We're hiding him as a team, but I'm saying draft wise, like what David is saying, we should have. I feel we should have taken one of those tackles.
Only if you think we would have played him.
Even so, you drafting them for the future. Like those guys have heck of potential. Like they're good. They were good as rookies, right?
Yep.
And they're going to only get better from what we've seen.
That was that was the fourth round, at that point, because we were the last comp pick in the third.
Yeah.
So that was the fourth round those guys went in. It's like, how. Yeah, we took Burford in the fourth round, before his rookie season, right? Mm-hmm. Or was that Zakel we took in the fourth round?
Why don't we like rookies? Remember.
It's not us. It's not us that don't like rookies. It's Kyle.
We want him to play.
As the 49ers, us as the 49ers, it seems like we don't like rookies. The only reason BA got to play is because somebody got hurt. The only reason, what's his name, the offensive lineman got to play is because somebody got hurt in preseason. It seems like rookies only get on the field They're replacing somebody for an injury.
Out of
Earlier,
necessity. Like Elijah
yeah,
Mitchell, he came in after Mostert got
after
hurt
Mostert
during
got
his
hurt,
rookie year,
right?
right?
That's why he got the bulk of the carries. Well, he was the number one back at that point. Yeah. So yeah, we definitely. I don't know. It's this whole trust factor thing that they always report. They always trust veterans more over the rookies. But at some point, these rookies need playing time. Like you
You
need to
know that so
build that
Kyle has
trust.
trust issues. He has trust
Oh,
issues.
clearly.
I mean,
So
I dated a chick like that once.
do you think it's do you think it's our responsibility to groom these guys up and train them, or do you think Kyle's looking at these guys like kind of like how he did Trey Lance and said you should already be ready? I don't have time to develop you. So is that what he's doing with these rookies? Is like looking at these guys and is like, you guys should be ready, and now I have to take longer to develop you. You're gonna sit. You're not ready to play.
No,
You're sitting.
that's what coaching is for. Like you're supposed to coach these guys up. Like you
Right,
can't be
but
like, no, I don't have time for you. What kind of crap is that? That's wrong.
I agree.
These guys don't know. The NFL game is totally different from college, and you have to
I,
coach these guys up. You heard Trent Williams. I remember listening to Trent Williams on Arik Armstead's podcast where he was like, "Oh, I just thought I was the greatest thing ever." Like, bah bah bah. And I came into the league and guys were chewing me up. Like he talked about how DeMarcus Ware, a veteran at the time, was just chewing him up. He was just dogging him. And Trent thought I was the man, and this guy's just beating me like crazy. So I needed to be coached up. I needed to learn how to watch film. I needed to learn how to get my body right. Like he had to learn that stuff, and he had to lean on his coaches to learn that stuff. So you got to coach these guys up. You can't just be like, oh, he's not ready. Well, put him in the doghouse. Nah, that's not the way to go.
no,
Because
I don't think it's the way to go either. But I think that's
yeah,
what's been happening with our team, and I think they're only pushing out players if they are 100% ready, and they're not giving them the time to develop on the field because they are looking at like you should have already been ready. You should have already been ready, and we are. It's the NFL. We're not pee wee. We're not high school. We're not college. That you should already know how to study. You should already know how to do weight room. You should already know how to stretch and know what to eat and how to eat. And you're coming to us and saying, "Whoa, I need more help. I need more help." Okay, so now we're willing to help you, but that means you're not prepared. You're not ready. So we're going to sit you. And maybe that's not the right decision, but maybe they're not doing enough scouting. Maybe they're not doing the right evaluations because we have went after players and they turn out to be good players eventually, but they got to wait. And it's like sooner or later, it's like, we're not a bunch of hens. We're not just sitting around on eggs waiting for them to hatch. And right now, where we are at with our team, we have to plug and play. We need players to come in who can play because we're not rebuilding. We're doing a small retooling. So a
mm-hmm.
lot of these guys we're going to get are going to be in free agents who are going to start the draft. I don't see these guys starting.
Well,
I don't.
like our team philosophy, we have like our core in place, and there's a lot of guys already there. And when we draft these guys, we normally redshirt them, right? They get their redshirt freshman year, where they can just sit in the background and learn, right? Which is
Well,
great. I understand that, but when they show some potential to even just do one thing, okay, have them do that one thing and get their feet wet, right? Perfect example is Jordan Mason. We see Jordan Mason as a hard runner between the tackles. He falls forward for 3, 4, 5 yards at a time. When you're in short yardage, he's the biggest back on the team. Put him in there. Let him run hard. Let him use those fresh legs to pick up that first down, to pick up that touchdown. Like, son, you got one job right now. You're going to go off tackle, off Trent Williams' hip, hit that C gap, and go. Like, play him, use him. Don't burn CMC into the ground. and that's the kind of like the frustration I think a lot of fans have with not playing these guys. Like, at least you let him use his skill set wisely, and even if it's just for that one purpose, we'll be happy. But it never happens.
Well, you guys remember Emmett Smith? Do you
Yep,
guys
yep.
remember
He was
running
he was
back
pretty
that?
good. I met him.
Do you guys remember the running back that they used to pull up? And what was his name? The one that he would spar time with? I don't remember his name.
Oh,
So like my point is like there's players that are really good players and they're not coming out. And why would you pull them out? So unless the guy's like rolling off the field, you're not pulling them out. So then at this point, you're like, okay, well, why aren't we putting Mason in there for Mitchell? Well, Mitchell doesn't run on the wrong side of the quarterback when he's getting the ball handed off on him. Maybe that only happened one time, but that was enough times for Kyle to say, you're not ready now.
well, that
Maybe
was
you need a
Brock's
little
fault too.
yeah, so it's both of their fault, right? At
But they
that
were both
point,
rookies at the time, right?
right.
So
So,
yeah,
it's like I understand what you're saying. Like these guys need more time out there. So again, that's not the coach's fault. That's not our fault. That's the league's fault for not having more preseason games so these guys can have those reps. That's the way you fix that. But for right now, these guys aren't going to get into the field because they're not going to get the playing time. They're not going to get the time because you're not going to have these stars, Kittle and Juice and Debo and all these guys sit down. You're not. So this guy can, give them a water break. That's the only reason they're going to get any playing time right now. And I know we need offensive lineman help, but do we really need offensive lineman help when we're that close to winning the Super Bowl with the
oh yeah,
misfits, with a bunch of misfits?
oh yeah, yeah. That's a whole different conversation because I'm on board with you there, right? And like that's an example of like some young players just played badly in bad spots, right? Like our last offensive play of the game, you had a second year player just didn't follow the game plan and it cost us. We had to settle for a field goal instead of a touchdown. We had two receivers wide open, but because the pass rush got there, rush throw, we know what happened. But that's the type of thing, you got to deal with. And I don't think O-line is that bad. I'm sure we can definitely use an upgrade, but we need help a lot other places. But yeah, I hate thinking about the Super Bowl. It's just because we had it. We should have won it. Anyway, yes. Okay. Time out. Fred Warner. We gotta talk about Fred because not only he celebrated the birth of his child. Much love and congrats to the Warner house. It's a beautiful thing. But we found out that he restructured his contract, right? Which saved around $11 million in cap space. So you figure out his $11 million and Armstead's 19 or 18. That's what, $29 million right there. And if we can do some other things, we'll have a bunch of money. There's money to be had that we can definitely make moves. Things aren't as dire as people make it out to be.
Yep.
I know you guys talked to Jason the other day. It was a great show. Just based on that conversation and your insights, how do you feel about us, moving forward?
I feel really good, honestly. Because there's still, like you said, moves we can make. There are I'm fully down to extend Chavarius Ward. This last year of his contract he's going into.
Yep.
That would save us $8 to $10 million right there.
Mm-hmm.
Even Debo, throw another year at him, and that'll save us 15 more.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and it's not like when you're extending a player like that, it's not like you're just kicking the can down the road.
No.
Because you're just extending their contract. So
you're actually spreading the money out more, which helps bring the cap numbers down over the years. And that's something that people don't think about when you add on a year. right? They don't think about that, but
Hmm.
it helps the team out.
But it's just there's still moves that we can make. There's still money to be had that we haven't tapped into yet. And he was actually saying that next year we'll have like 40 something $1 million available,
Yeah,
which maybe not so much now that you restructured Fred, and if you do this and that, that might knock that number down a little bit. But still, we're not hurting in the near or far future at this point, right? Not like the Saints. I think the
exactly.
Saints were 100 million over the cap at one point, and
Every year, it's every year
oh,
with them. We are not that bad. But yeah, I
mm,
agree. We're in. Kudos to Parag and his team. They do a great job with the cap. Bryant, what's your outlook for us? Moving forward and being able to keep the core in place, because that's the big thing. Everyone's always like, we got to break up the core. We have no money, but keeping the
Well,
core in place.
talking to Jason the other day with David, again, we'll try to get Jason on here with you
Mm-hmm.
and all of us, and that'd be
Yep.
great. Talking to Jason, and really with you guys as well, I have the same thoughts. It's the team who wants to be together will stay together. At some point in this conversation, they looked at Armstead and said, "We need you to take a pay cut," and he said, "Why?" Or he said, "No," real quick, or he had words. There was something that was said that he wasn't happy with, and he said, I'm out." And I don't think they looked at him and said, "You're out." I think he said, "Okay, I'm not going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I can't take that much of a hit. I'm not going to restructure. I only have this much in my tank." I'm sure they didn't look at him and say, "Dude, you're washed. We're not going to pay you." Maybe it got to that point where they said, "You've been hurt this many seasons, this many times. You only had that 1 year where you had like 18 sacks, and you haven't had anything close to that since then." I don't think it got ugly like that, but it could have. And at a certain point, it's the team wanting to stick together. So I'm looking at it as everybody who wants to be here is going to more than likely stay around. I know a lot of people don't like the Cabo click. They don't like the Cabo click because freelance and a lot of other things. A lot of things didn't make people happy with that. Um, Favoritisms is going to happen, and I can't stop that. But if people want to analyze that much and get behind it and say this and that, and they don't like it, well, I guess you just don't like the 49ers, because at a certain point, as long as the Cabo click is the Cabo click, that's who you're rooting for. You're rooting for those group of 49ers. The name Moody, Bryant, whatever, it's going to come and go. But the team's going to stay, the team's going to still be the 49ers. It's just every
Yep.
year is a different personality. Every year the locker room's just a little different because you can't keep everybody. Maybe you kept the gardener, maybe you kept the janitor, but the next year, you get a different water boy. So I'm really optimistic about it. And talking to Jason, I'm really, maybe I've convinced myself, but maybe he helped me talk myself into it as well. It's going to be free agency, and then we're going to go after the draft. And if we do draft players, I'm looking at the defensive line first, and then going after some wide receivers. It's going to go defensive line. Then maybe we're going to go after a safety. Then we're going to go after a
Mm-hmm.
wide receiver and another wide receiver. Call me crazy, but if we don't take two wide receivers in a row, we're not getting Gore or McCaffrey. Then we have to take a running back really quick after that if you want to get Gore. And people are like, "Oh, why do you want to do that?" Because if you don't give the shot or the chance or the attempt for the players that used to be on the team, that did a lot for the team, and all these fans who rooted for these players and went and bought jerseys for these players, they don't see you take a shot on Frank Gore Jr. or Rice, or it's going to be another thing that they're going to be like the Niners failed on. So like I have a lot of optimism for it. And even talking to Joey, talking to Jason, at first he told me that we couldn't take on Joey Bosa. And then after talking to him a little bit, I don't know if I convinced him or if I worded it the right way, but we can take on
I
Bosa.
saw that.
The,
Yeah.
we're waiting for the contract to be cut. The Chargers to let Mac go and Bosa go, and you know what? There's a good chance they both come to the 49ers. Mac was a Raider. He was in Oakland. Then he went to
Yeah.
Chicago. Now he's with the Chargers. It's like this guy wants to go to a team where he can contend in too. And what I love about our team is we do have somebody who's honest, who's the general manager. I would vote for Lynch for president. But Lynch did come out and say, there's some years you can take a shot and some years you can't. We've seen that in the past where we weren't able to go out and get everybody that we wanted to. And then we've seen years where we made a splash. And I think this is that time where we're going to make a couple big names and it's going to put us over the top.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. I really am.
Yep.
And then we're going to get Devin Culp, undrafted free agent, tight end from Washington. Yeah.
He'll come in.
Your cousin.
Yep.
My cousin.
Good old cousin.
Yep.
Sin says, who is Jason? We're talking about Jason Hurley, who is a 49er faithful. He is a salary cap guru. He knows the numbers. He understands them. That's the important thing. He understands the salary cap numbers and what it means when you extend a player, when you cut a player, prior to June 1st, post June 1st, what it means to have an extension versus a restructure. He can break that down to you and tell you exactly what the numbers mean and give you an actual cap figure, right? Give you an actual salary amount. He's a great guy. I've actually known him for a long time because we go back to way back to old 49er web zone days. When it used to be just a forum, not the craziness that it is now. But yeah, he's a great guy, great to talk with. And this is like his time of year. This is when he's the most popular guy amongst the faithful. Because he'll get these contracts and he'll tell you, all right, don't look at this player making $14 million a year. He's actually only making $8 million this year. And then next year he's going to make, 12.2. Things like that. So yeah, it's definitely his time to shine.
Yep. He's awesome. He's been doing it since 2005. I'm pretty sure you do know him, Cynthia. He's been on Ryan Hensley's show. He's been everywhere. He's a great guy. Great guy. And I just, definitely really, really am excited.
Yeah. She said the cap guy, Jason. Yes, the cap guy, Jason. Yeah. Everyone knows him. Yeah. And he's just a cool guy, right? Yeah. Love to just talk football with him, aside from the cap. But yeah, he's definitely the most popular person amongst the faithful during the free agent season.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
And Bryant and David had them on their show the other day. Definitely go check that out because they had great conversations. One of which was the whole Joey Bosa thing. Can we bring him in? And at first he was like, no, but then Bryant, you did do a little Jedi mind trick on him. You leaned on him a little, and then all of a sudden he came around and he was like, I think we can.
Perspective, But no, he's great. It's just, it's like, again, it's learning maybe to ask a question a certain way, but it's like you really can truly almost get anybody to agree with you on anything if you ask it in a certain way. And that's really fun.
The power of persuasion.
Jason's a great guy. Great guy.
Yeah. But getting back on the topic, I agree with you guys. I think we're in great shape. Once again, our front office, Parag, and the team they do with managing this thing and making sure we don't go into cap hell, they do a great job at it. Tops in the league. You never hear about us, having to do what the Bills just did. As much as people panic online and the trolls come out and they say, oh, we're going to have to cut Debo and BA and George Kittle and Fred Warner and all this stuff. No. Everything's fine. We're in good shape. So the Niners will be around and contending for a long time, I feel. We just got to get over that hump. And right now, putting this team together, that's what it's all about. So stay tuned, folks, because this is just day one of the free agent frenzy. There's more coming up. But, gentlemen, let's get out of here on a high note. I tried to crop the video and get it going, but I failed. So, these gentlemen have a great jersey giveaway going on. It is a signed Colin Kaepernick jersey. Oh, Bryant's pulling it up right now. A signed jersey. It is authenticated, still has the tag on it. It's beautiful. Bryant, can you tell everyone how to enter?
So you type in BryantMan3 at gmail.com, or you type in Bryant Culp and go to YouTube, or David McNiner and go to YouTube. There's a little video. There's 2 or 3 of them. They're about a minute 17. It shows you all the details. We're trying to get you to subscribe to our good buddy Corey Davis, my channel, and David's channel. We're just a couple guys that get together and talk shop about football and a little bit of other stuff. We have fun sometimes, some conspiracy theories, but we have fun. We want to give away a jersey, and we want you guys to get involved. So someone like you, Cynthia, or if you know anybody else, any of your family, anybody who wants an opportunity to win a free jersey, all you have to do is subscribe to 3 channels. It's not super hard. Take a screenshot and email it to me one more time, bryantman3 at gmail.com. And hopefully here soon we'll have Ty in our next giveaway. And I look forward to having Kenny in our giveaway. We're going to be doing some stuff here and there every once in a while. Not trying to buy your guys' love, but we definitely love to see you guys come around, and we appreciate you all. So thank you so much, Ty.
Yeah, no, thank you. And it's all about reciprocating, right? We're all in this together. We love the support. The chat was on fire tonight. Thanks to everyone who showed up. I think we peaked at 45 viewers tonight. That's great. Love you all. It was a great show. David, Bryant, what you guys got going on this week? Let the people know.
Well, Wednesday we got the Corey Davis trivia. It's a tradition he started. And this week we're doing numbers 61 through 75. So we're going all the way to 99, because I think that's as far up as they'll let us go, right? But we're doing 61 through 75, and it's all current or former players that wore those numbers. So
excellent. And it's a great thing. It breaks up the monotony of talking about, free agency and what the team should do. It's a great getaway. It's something different. Everyone tune into that. You're guaranteed to have a good time. That's for sure. But gentlemen, another great show.
Right.
That's our time. Thank you for tuning in to the Niners Coast to Coast. David, can you take us home? Corey Davis style.
Hey, it's go Niners, as Corey Davis would say, F all 31 other teams.
Darn tootin'. Have a good night, everybody.